Hey, good morning. I'm Patricia Murphy. It's Wednesday. This is Seattle Now. The Crosslake Connection will finally open this Saturday. That means for the first time, you'll be able to take light rail from Seattle to the Eastside. So what will that new access mean for Redmond? We'll talk about that in a minute. But first, let's get you caught up. Seattle Public Schools has rolled out a new app where students, staff, and parents can anonymously report safety concerns, things like threats of violence, weapons on campus, or even bullying. It's called Safer Watch. District officials say the federally funded app will allow them to notify school leaders of multiple threats in real time. Meanwhile, the CEO of Safer Watch was arrested last month and charged with bribery in a case that involves the New York City Police Department. Speaking of New York, it's day 2 of the NBA Board of Governors meeting in New York, where team owners could vote yes to expand the league to Seattle and Las Vegas. The NBA has been absent from Seattle since 2008, when a new ownership group moved the Supersonics to Oklahoma City. We will definitely keep you up to date on any developments right here on Seattle Now, just like we do twice a day, every day. You rely on this podcast to keep you up to date. Well, we rely on you too. This week, during our spring fundraising drive, we're asking for your financial support. Your gift to KUOW means we can continue to bring you local stories that shape this region. Give today and know that this podcast and everything you read or hear on KUOW is supported by you. Just tap the link in our show notes, and thanks. We're back with more headlines on tonight's episode.
I remember long ago hearing that putting light rail on a floating bridge would never work. And I'm here to tell you that what some thought was impossible is now a reality.
That's Redmond Mayor Angela Burney in January when Sound Transit announced the opening date of the Crosslake Connection. Now, we're just days away. Voters approved the plan with a ballot measure way back in 2008. For the city of Redmond, which is home to more than 50,000 Microsoft employees, this rail line is a really big deal. Local Andrew Villeneuve is the founder of the Northwest Progressive Institute. He's written about light rail and Redmond for The Urbanist. He's very familiar with the trip across the lake and what this change could mean for his city. In fact, he's been waiting for this day for 30 years. We met up with Andrew at the downtown Redmond station last Friday.
So when I was growing up, I noticed there were railroad tracks here in Redmond. And in fact, this concrete that we're standing on, there used to be railroad tracks right here. And they went up and down this part of Redmond parallel to Cleveland Street. So once upon a time, you could ride a train up and down this stretch of tracks. I think it was mostly used for freight, but there were tracks here. And so I used to look at the tracks going through town and think, how come we're not using them? They're just abandoned. Nobody has service on them. So you can't use the train to get around, to leave, and to return to Redmond. And so I just thought about, wouldn't it be nice if Redmond was served by rail? And it wasn't. For the entirety of my childhood, we had no train service. And then throughout my teenage years and beyond, we still had no train service. And so seeing the train here, like it's physically here, we've built it, it's a really powerful feeling. It's like a dream fulfilled, a dream realized.
It's coming online soon, but before it does, let's talk about what your trip from Seattle to Redmond would look like now, or from Redmond to Seattle.
Sure. So right now, Sound Transit provides a network of express buses. We do have you see a rapid ride bus coming into one of the terminals adjacent to the station now. So we have rapid rides serving this station, but the main Sound Transit express routes don't stop exactly here. So those are really the two options now for getting to Seattle.
Yeah.
They both cross over 520 except for when the bridge is closed. The problem is those buses do get stuck in traffic. The 545 in particular is prone to being slowed down when it's trying to get on the ramp to I-5, and it has to sit in all that gridlock.
How much time do you think you need to budget to get across the lake right now without this new connection?
Without this connection, you're talking about during the worst travel times, maybe budgeting an extra 20 to 30 minutes during the worst, because that traffic on I-5 can just be brutal.
Are you going to use this line a lot?
A lot, yes. The fact that it will cross the lake will mean that if I ever need to go to a Mariners game or a Seahawks game, or if I need to go to the airport, for example, I'll be flying to a national conference in June. When I fly out, I can simply walk to the 2 line, take the 2 line to Chinatown International District, get off at the platform, transfer to the southbound 1 line. It's a 2-seat ride. The entirety of the journey takes place on light rail. There are no bus components at all.
Sporting events is going to be a great advantage for people going to Seattle.
Right.
What about people coming to Redmond or Bellevue? What's the draw? What'll change?
I think what is here already is the draw, but it's easier to get here once the 2 line opens. So if you're a dog owner and you want your dog to run free at Marymore Park, right? Use that off-leash dog area, you can use the 2 line to come across the lake, and you can get off at Marymore Village Station and you're in the park. You can walk over to that off-leash dog area and have fun.
Super bonus, you have an IKEA pickup store.
Yeah, we do.
Big draw.
Yeah, that's another draw. We're standing next to Redmond Town Center. We can see it from this station foyer. It's got a lot of things already, and it's going to have more. They're building up, so that means that there's going to be more people living in this area. There's going to be more shops. We already have the IKEA pickup point that you mentioned, but we also have lots of restaurants. We have the Flat Stick Pub just over there. If you walk into Redmond Town Center, you can see all sorts of merchants and small businesses. There's a shawarma place.
Fairly walkable, yeah.
Yeah, very walkable. The whole of Town Center is really at your disposal once you get off here at downtown Redmond Station. Also in this neighborhood, we have a Salt and Straw, a Mendocino Farms, a Dave's Hot Chicken. There's a lot of places that have sprung up. The Dave's Hot Chicken had a huge line around the block for quite a while after it opened.
All right, now you grew up here.
I did, yeah.
Tell me what's changed. What have you noticed?
So Redmond used to be, the old joke was there was one stoplight in town. Everyone talks about that. But what's really changed is that Redmond has grown upwards. So where we're standing here, we can look around and we're surrounded by medium-rise buildings. 6 to 8 story buildings are everywhere, and that did not used to be the case. We used to have 1 to 2 story buildings, and they were all over. You had strip malls, a furniture store just over there. We used to have Frankie's Pizza and Pasta over there on 166th and Redmond Way. I miss that place. But Frank Curtis
I sensed the nostalgia.
Yeah, the nostalgia really kicks in, doesn't it? We used to think, gosh, Frankie's could just move to one of these new buildings because after all, they are built for mixed use. There's retail on the first story. But Frank Curtis decided that he didn't want to keep operating his restaurant. He'd been in the business for decades and he wanted to travel and write books and do other things. And so he and his wife retired. So we still miss that place. The good news is he gave us 2 cookbooks so we can make the things that he used to serve at his restaurant at home with a little time and patience.
Who are going to be the most challenging people on this side of the tracks to get on the train?
I think people who own a car and are not used to riding on transit at all, like they've never set foot on a bus or a train, those are the people who I think it's going to be the toughest sell. But the whole point of transit is to give people mobility options, and I want people to realize even if you own a car, light rail is ready and here for you. You can leave your car behind and you can still use it, for the last mile if you insist on it, but you're not required to drive to get to where you want to go. You have other choices.
What's the best thing about being on the train?
Probably just the reliability of it. The train doesn't have to compete with other vehicles for space in the network, so it runs in its own right-of-way. There are, in fact, only a few places in the entire system where the train is even crossing a road, which means that you can expect a reliable commute. Sound Transit is trying to deal with the copper wire thieves and the power problems and other issues that have plagued reliability, and there is an action plan in place to address all of that.
Okay, I am glad you brought up reliability because there is a reliability issue. As a regular train commuter, I have been burned. I have been stuck on the tracks. Is that just part of opening up a new line of running a transit system, or should we expect more reliability from Sound Transit?
I think we can expect that Sound Transit is going to put in place more measures to improve reliability. In the Seattle Times, Mike Lindblom, who I know well, who's a transportation reporter, has written about how Sound Transit has invested in extra measures to ensure the reliability of the Crosslake segment. There is duplicative power infrastructure in place, more than we need to support that segment, but it's there for good reason. That is a segment that is challenging because it's never been done before. This is the world's first light rail on a floating bridge. It doesn't exist anywhere else. It's brand new, but there's still the challenge of actually bringing riders on board and having revenue service. We still have to make sure that the system functions when riders are on it. It's one thing to have simulated service, it's another to have revenue service. So they're confident they're going to be prepared for that. The one, I think, wrinkle that they don't control as much is the copper wire theft. And we really need the legislature to step up and toughen the penalties and the accountability for copper wire thieves. That will really help, because otherwise we're talking about doing things like wrapping lines in what's called the taco, which has been done in other transit systems to shield the components. And that's expensive. I think it's like $50 a foot or something significant. But it's actually cheaper than having to replace the thefts.
And it'll be a lot easier for Sound Transit riders to get on the train if the train shows up on time, because that's bad PR if you're late for work.
Yeah, and every transit system is going to have its growing pains and its hiccups and everything. There's no such thing as a foolproof system. Even if you try to automate everything, it will not be foolproof. You just can't get there. It's not possible. If you think about like your car, what happens, like when your car gets a flat tire? What happens when you run out of gas? Maybe if you forgot to fuel up and you're on your way to somewhere and burning your last, few drops of gasoline. We all know things can go wrong on the road. Or maybe you're on your way to something and someone smashes into you in an intersection, right? The travel, you can break down the modes, and driving is the least safe of the modes. So you're actually statistically more likely to be safe if you're on the train or if you're on a plane or a boat. The road is the worst place to be for safety.
Yeah. What's your plan for opening day? Are you going to ride?
I'm definitely going to ride. The opening day will be huge because not only do we have the Crosslake Connection opening celebrations, we also have a big No Kings
right. It's going to be a very big day.
It's going to be a huge day. There's going to be No Kings on the Eastside, No Kings in Seattle, No Kings in Snohomish and Pearson. Everywhere is going to have No Kings. So the light rail will actually be useful. It's like a day one thing. This will be like its initial test, if you will. It's this big event. And we actually have done this before. On the opening day for Central Link in 2009, we actually had a Sounders game. So this is
good stress test for the system.
Yeah.
All right. Andrew Villeneuve is the founder and executive director of the Northwest Progressive Institute. Thanks so much. Really
You're
appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate listening to Seattle Now, and seriously, thank you to our donors for making this show possible. You can also rate and review us on your favorite podcast app. Today's episode was produced by Jonathan Chang. It was edited by Andy Hurst. Our production team also includes Caroline Chamberlain-Gomez, Vaughn Jones, Brooklyn Jamerson Flowers, and Paige Browning. Greg Kramer does our theme music. Seattle Now and KUOW Public Radio are members of the NPR network. I'm Patricia Murphy. See you tonight for Evening Headlines.